Okay, I just got the notification. We're live streaming. Hello, everybody. It's good to have you with us tonight. We want to thank you so much. We'll give it to Terry here in a second. Let him greet everybody that's coming and joining us into the Zoom room. And while you're listening tonight, if you'd like to come to the Zoom room, just go on over to our Facebook page, A Simple Walk, and there you'll see all of the links, how you can join and watch and share and all those good things. And we want to appreciate everybody that's listening through Power Faith Radio tonight. Please send those questions and come on over and join us in the Zoom room, and we'll greatly appreciate it. As always, I'd like to say we are live streaming on YouTube, Outreach Noah. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe to that channel, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Hello, Terry.
Hello. Oh, let me link for here. Hello.
You know, I did everything except tell them how to email us. You want to tell them how to email us?
All right. Yes. You ask Scotty, forgot to push one of those little buttons now. Yeah. Hey, we missed last week, but it was for a good cause. So Scotty, give us an update here in just a minute on that. But yes, if you want to contact us, of course, you can contact Scotty and I both through our Facebook pages are open, and also through A Simple Walk Facebook page. It's open as well, where you can contact us messages through there. Or you can email us like the majority of everyone does at outreachnoah at gmail.com. Did I get that right?
You did.
It's been a couple of weeks since I said that. So.
Yeah. Go ahead and greet everybody in the Zoom room tonight.
All right. As Scotty said, if y'all want to come on over to the Zoom room, come on over. You don't have to have your camera on if you want to leave it off, but join us. And like Scotty said, you can go over to A Simple Walk and over to Noah Hides of Australia and New Zealand. And Scotty's got the links in both of those Facebook groups there to be able to come in and join us in the Zoom room as well. So I just want to greet here. We got Ronald is with us tonight, and Amuela and Thomas, Veronica, and Nancy. It's all here with us. Of course, Scotty down in the engine room, making sure he doesn't crack those dilithium crystals.
Yeah.
So keep this ship, right and ready to go. And so, Scotty, I hope you give us a little bit of an update. Why we had to miss last week was for a good cause. Hadn't got to talk with him in the last couple of days. We've both been busy. But tonight we're going to continue, God willing. We're going to cover just verse 5, Genesis 1, verse 5. It's maybe a little bit short tonight, but we've got probably some questions and stuff Scotty might have for us. We can discuss it first. Like I said, I ain't got to talk to him this week yet. But we just want to cut, because I wanted to start on verse 6. I didn't want to just get into verse 6 as an ending point for tonight. Because I know there's going to be some questions as we get into that area, and some of the verses that are coming up. There's going to be a lot of questions, and a lot of discussion will probably come forth. So tonight, God willing, we're just going to go through verse 5 and discuss it tonight. And we're going to continue on in our verses. And if anytime you have any questions, any comments, please contact us at outreachnoah@gmail.com. Because we're going to be getting into, like I said, some areas that some things others may have not have heard of before from your traditional learning of these verses, because we're going to be looking at these verses not only in the English, we're going to be looking at the Hebrew as well. Scotty, you about ready?
I am ready.
All righty.
So I want to give you an update on Danielle. Last week, we ended up taking her to the hospital on Tuesday, and pretty bad go of it. But to make a long story short, she's back home now. She calls it, she's at the top of her game, and then she'll say, but I can't see the TV yet. So her potassium's still low. So just be mindful and praying for her. And it looks like we're going to be getting her new place inspected next Tuesday. That's on the 8th. And if everything goes well there, we're going to start the move. And we're just moving everything on faith. We're just going straight on through. We got the deposit for the apartment, and we're still working on the deposit for the electric, but we believe we're going to have that by the time that's ready to do. So, but we appreciate everybody that's donated and helped us in this endeavor. yesterday I was down there, and she wanted to do a little short video, and she wants to, when she gets next Tuesday, I'm taking her down there. Me and Annie's taking her down there to her apartment, and she wants to do a little video through the apartment and thanking everybody. And so be prepared to cry, because that's what she does a lot. I think I do that a lot. I don't know. I'm just, just that type. Also, I want to tell you something. It's we don't realize it a lot of times that the Creator puts people in our path that are watching us. I've always heard this. You're, in fact, a very old pastor when I was very young. So now I'm getting to be. I'm not going to say very old, but I feel very old sometimes when I get out of bed in the morning. But when I was very young, this very old, great gentleman used to say that you will be the only Bible that some people will ever read. And so you need to watch your actions. And so I've been approached this week, and I did not realize that this young man, 20 years old, was listening to things that I would mention or say. And he's working with me now, and he would hear me talking different things, and he would ask some questions, and I would just, I wouldn't specifically come out and just tell him how I believe. I said, well, here's probably what you need to go look at and start reading here. And so and then I found out today that he had actually went and asked some people that he is affiliated with. I'm picking my words wisely. You know how I do that, everybody. I choose my words wisely. And so he has come to me today, and he asked me to help him purchase a Hamish. So he said, I'm beginning to see some things. And he said, the funny thing about it is, the things I see, they feel good in my soul. They feel good in my spirit, and I can't explain it. So y'all be much in prayer for Eli. I've got him on our list. When I get down there to him, I'll just let you hear him. So we're gonna get right into our Tzedakah time. We appreciate everybody that helps at any time in our Tzedakah time, and whether you help, whether you send funds or not, it doesn't matter. We appreciate you sending names. We always keep change and things here on the desk that we can move over into the Tzedakah box. And I will tell you that the monies that we have put in there, we have helped Danielle and a couple other people, and just constantly keeping on the move. We don't want to keep it stacked up here. We're just constantly keeping on the move. And so we're going to start off tonight. As always, Terry and I give tzedakah for our main teacher, Pesach and Sherbo. And then also, as we were talking about Nadine, we have her on our tzedakah list tonight, Nadine Akins. And Harleen Houle. Harleen Houle had a stroke, and she is, I talk to her at least twice a week, and she is wanting us to continue to give prayer for us. And she is so sweet. She'll reach in her pocketbook. She says, I want to give you Tzedakah. Is that what you call it? So she does listen when she can on YouTube. So we're giving tzedakah tonight for Harleen Houle. And then also Jeremy Kibbe. I felt like keeping him on here for a little bit. Jeremy Kibbe. And Pamela Steffi. Now, Veronica, you got to go stay with Pamela a couple days, and from what I heard, she was just going to chain you up and hang you on down there. So how's Pamela doing, Veronica?
She's still a little bit in pain, still trying to heal. I don't think that they necessarily did a very good job on her, but she's slowly recovering. Yeah, slowly recovering.
Okay, good deal. All right. Also on our tzedakah list tonight is Wendell and Mary Parsons, and Ronald and his sister. I always put in his sister because I'm hoping he's going to give you her name. So, Ronald, how are you doing?
Oh, it's been a bit rough this week, but I'm coming good. My sister, still not in a good way. They're still trying to make decisions of how they're going to approach everything. So it's still a waiting game there, but she's not doing too well. She was texting me yesterday, and all of a sudden the words were all very misspelt, and she was really struggling.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep her on our Sadaka list. Okay. Also, William and Tina Lyons is on our Sadaka list tonight. And I can get this. It's Brandon. It's Janice Brandon. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Give me a cigar.
She's greatly improved. She's back at home now, not at a relative's place. And she's starting to feel comfortable after the operation and getting more active.
Great. That's good to hear. Also, we have Christina Hall still on our Sadaka list tonight, and Larry Beck and family is on our Sadaka list tonight. And somebody always sends in $1 for, and it's this dollar belongs to these people that I'm going to name, as it came from them. And Amuela Asher, they send in $1 for you, Amuela, and one for Veronica in her endeavors of crossing the American, I don't know what you would call it, but she's crossing the Americas. And
Sea
then
to
also,
shining sea.
from sea to shining sea. I don't think you've been out west too much, have you, Veronica?
I lived in California and I lived in Washington, so out west is kind of the last.
You have been coast to coast. So now we can say it's Veronica, the well-known author from coast to coast. So all right. And also they send in $1 for Thomas Schaus, and we appreciate them. Also, Chrissy Seaton, we got her on our Sadaka. Is Chrissy doing okay, Ronald? The last that you talked to her?
Yeah, which was yesterday, but she couldn't talk for long. But yeah, she's doing fine, and we're probably going to get together on the phone again this afternoon, our time. But yeah, she's doing well, and we're trying to sort out a few things with our women's meeting, the direction we're going in, and work out what we can implement each week.
Great. All right. Also, we got Warwick Marshall on our Sadaka list tonight. And
yes, well, can I have a word here?
Yes.
Warwick's struggling at the moment. He's got another brain tumor operation. He's got sinus issues that need cleaning out again. So he's not faring too well at the moment.
Okay. We're going to keep him on our Sadaka list, and maybe you out there listening, maybe you would just remember him, and sometime this week or weekend give into a charity box, and just think of or mention Warwick Marshall as you do that. And then also Emily Hatcher is on our Sadaka list tonight, and Eli, I'm just going to say Eli is on our Sadaka list tonight. And then in our blessed memory tonight, we have Gene Franklin on our blessed memory tonight. Okay, I just got a notification on live stream. Hello, everybody. It's good to have you with us. Hold on, guys. I don't know what's going on there. Much. We'll give it to Terry here in a second. Let him greet everybody that's. You got it? I don't know what happened there. I went and found it real quick. It started late somewhere else, and so it just came up. So, all right.
Scotty?
Yes.
Blessed memory, Barbara Ruth Dickman.
Yes. And you know what? I apologize.
That's all right.
For that, Ronald, you sent me the other day, and I had wrote her down. Her name is on the list in my car, and I give charity to that. But we're going to give charity to Barbara and Dickman tonight. And thank you for jumping in. And
that's right. We would have been last week, but we weren't here. So
okay, yeah. Veronica, let's see. You jump first, and then we're going to have Nancy jump in.
In blessed memory for Kathy Lee Ryan. She was a volunteer for the Patriot Guard Riders, and she passed last week.
Okay, we're giving Sadaka for her, and then Nancy.
Here.
Okay, I have a dumb question. So what is this whole Sadaka thing all about? Please and thank you.
Okay, so here let's do this, Nancy. Let me do our prayer
Okay.
for our Sadaka, and then if it's okay with Terry, we'll
Just
touch
fine.
on this just a little bit and give some insight. That's a very good question, Nancy. Very good question, because I run into a lot of people every day. I'm a Sadaka pusher. I'm a charity pusher. So so we're going to say our prayer, and we're going to come back and answer Nancy's question. So here we go. Hear our voice, Adonai, our God, Father of mercy. Have compassion on us and accept our prayers with compassion and favor. For we know that you are a God who hears prayers and supplications. You are our King. Do not send us away empty-handed. Favor us and answer us and listen to our prayers. Amen. All right. All right. Nancy, that's a good question. So Terry, you want to jump in on this, or you want me to jump in on this?
You're Mr. Sadaka.
Here we go. Here we go. We get the word Sadaka. Charity is kindly a translation. It's commonly translated, the word Sadaka, into charity, but it's more vast than that. But that's the common use of the word Sadaka. We're first introduced to this through Noah, when the Creator told Moses to write. Noah was a righteous man, and so through the word of righteousness, which that word righteous is Sadiq, he was a Sadiq, Sadaka. And what we do when we give that is, so I'll tell you several different ways that I do charity, and then we're going to go into this, what we do here. The one thing I do is I always keep some change around, and I thank the Creator as part of my blessing, for, if you want to call it a blessing, for a meal or a drink or something that I'm enjoying. And then I've always got some kind of change, and about every time I pick up Thomas, he's handing me some Sadaka to put in my little jar or in for that. And I think of those that don't have it. And I put some change. I got a little charity box, little metal charity box in my car, and I put some change in.
Sadaka box. I do have a Sadaka box. But I mean, like within the group, like what goes on with it, and
okay. So as we have kindly developed here, we have people that will always send us names, and then sometimes people will send us change. You can send us any amount as you desire, or no money. It doesn't matter. But what we do with the dollars, sometimes people send it through PayPal or Cash App. Now I've received a little bit. It's funny. I received a 35 cents from Cash App from a sweet little lady, and who lives up north, and which that's great. That's great. And what they do is they accompany their prayer with charity. And what I do as the charity grows in the box, and it's not a lot. I want to tell you, we're not talking about hundreds of dollars here. And since it's fallen to me and I do this, I kind of get out in the community quite a bit. And we have helped people through what people have sent in here. And sometimes we've requested monies. We've helped with funerals. We've helped with baby funerals. We've helped.
We helped by, was it last year? We helped pay for a casket for a baby.
Yes, help pay for a casket. And we also got some headstones. And of course, Danielle, I don't want to call her a project. Somebody told me, "Is that your project?" I said,
"No,
not a project. It's just we see the need and we try to fulfill the need the best as possible. But you don't have to send it to us. If you've got a charity box there and you see somebody in need, and it doesn't matter how much it is, just find a way to help that particular person, or you see a need in the community and put that money together." I bet I just muddied that water on your question, didn't I?
No, no.
Okay. Our current thing that we kindly raised a little funds for was Danielle. She's a young lady who my wife and I have kindly adopted. I think Thomas has kindly adopted her too a little bit. And she had a double amputation of her legs last September. And so, as you know, but she's coming along great. I am surprised every time I see her. She
did become life-threatening.
It did become life-threatening. Last week, she had a pretty bad issue, and it was touch and go for a few minutes. I've seen those things on ER. You know, my wife watches ER sometimes, and I see those things where they just jump on people in the hallway and start working on them. And I saw that immediately last week. And but she's home. She's doing well. We're moving her. She lives upstairs in an apartment, and she is now brought herself to a position where she climbed. I got a video of her going down the steps by herself. And and going back up. When she came out of the hospital, she was still very weak, but she said, I want to go up the steps. I just feel like I have to conquer this. And so I stood behind her, and I kind of put a sheet around her and up under her arms, and she said, you just take a little weight off. She did it all of herself. I just kept her steady. And but so we're getting her moved, and then there's always something that comes up. I'm always out in the community, and some of you others are too. I don't want to say that I'm the only one that does this, but anyway, that's what we do with what comes here.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. I
was just wondering.
Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question, honey. I had somebody ask me, I think what was it, a couple of weeks ago, we requested the funds to help get Danielle's lights, the deposit at her new place she's going to be living, and it's rather high. And so I was talking to someone here that I talk to all the time. I meet them every day, and I was talking to them about it. And of course, they asked me, says, now, what are you doing? And so, it's funny when the one great thing about giving charity, I just feel impressed to say this. You can get forgiveness of transgressions by giving charity. Now that I could go into that the rest of the time. I'm not going to take Terry's time, but charity, if you're it's would that fall under the act of carbon offerings? Terry, you know more about that.
No, I don't know if it fall underneath the Korban.
It's just something.
But it is. The sages do teach, and I can't remember the exact source. But it is a Torah source that through charity sins are forgiven.
Yes.
So real quick. So if I wanted to give a donation on Cash App, how do I do that?
Yeah, I can send you the link on Cash App or PayPal, whichever one you wish. So you want to do Cash App? I can send you a link. Am I friends with you on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. I will hunt you up and send you a link. And where are you from, Nancy?
What?
Where are you from? Where do you live at?
I'm in New Jersey in Cape.
Oh, well, that's too far for me to drive.
Right.
So,
I don't expect anyone to come to Cape May, New Jersey.
Okay. So I'll send you a link, and then it'll be up to you. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, please. Because I know that I see that my name comes up as my legal name, Nancy Romero. On my Facebook, it's Nancy Lynn Nowak.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Just so that you know.
Okay. Thank you so much. And
then I can give you my Cash App information, obviously, as well.
Okay.
So that you'll know it's coming from me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nancy. All right, Terry, I'm gonna I'm going to hand it over to you. I know I've already got 3 questions on what we just discussed about the forgiveness of transgressions. I've already got 3 questions that's come up. What? So,
Yeah.
so we're
Again, it's one of those things we weren't raised with, but it's right there.
yeah. So okay,
Like a little. You ready? All righty. Greetings, everyone. And I'm not just my head with so much stuff that I've got going on right now. I want to apologize that I did not greet the radio in the YouTube group. And greetings to Power Faith Radio and the YouTube channel for those who are listening in, those who are watching the video via rerun, as we would used to say it back in Scotty and I's day. So greetings to everyone, and thank y'all for joining in, and thank you for watching our videos. If you like them, share them, and like our YouTube channel as well. Share that if you want to. It's a place to come and learn, ask questions. It's a safe place to come and learn. We don't debate, don't argue over things, pushing things that, you're right, I'm wrong type. We try to do it in a loving and kind way, the way the Creator would have us to be. I think one of the saying of the sages was to be like the sons of Aaron, or to be like Aaron, to seek peace. And so that's kind of what we do. Tonight we are going to jump right on in here on verse 5, Genesis chapter 1, verse 5. And I'm reading from the Ark Scroll tonight. Is my main text tonight is the Ark Scroll Tanakh series, Bereshis, which is the Hebrew for Genesis. And in the English, it is translated as verse 5, God called to the light day, and to the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning one day. Rashi, one of the great Torah teachers of Israel, which Rashi is an acronym for his name. It says, and God called to the light day. The term called here, which in the Hebrew is Vayikra Elohim, God called. But the term called in this context sometimes can seem difficult because, in fact, as many of the Torah teachers and commentators perceive that the term light and day are by no means synonymous in common usage. So, the sacred writings of the Jews, the Talmud renders the word Vayikra in this verse. Does not mean that he called, but a rather better interpretation of this word in the context of this passage is that God summoned the light and pointed its duty by day, and he summoned the darkness and appointed its duty by night. So it is noted that here again the Torah is given to man, speaks in the human terms, views everything from man's perspective. In reality, the terms light and darkness, designating day and night, are valid only in human terms. When we perceive a certain period to be day, this is true only in the terms of our geographical location. Others experience night at the very same time. In divine terms, therefore, as we imagine him, God, peering down from his heavenly abode, there is no one time that is truly night, or one time that is truly day. For this Torah speaks in the language and of the viewpoint of man. What we're seeing here. So it says calling does not refer here to giving a name, but rather to a summons, because we're going to see this in the Hebrew that really the more correct word would have been here, instead of God called, it would have been that God summons the light, that he summons the light and he summons the darkness. As a king who summons his subjects. Now, here's where we're going to look at this in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, we have here Vayikra Elohim La'or. It's translated almost in every English Bible as God names the light day. God called the light day. I went on to one of the Bible websites, like I think it's Bible Gate. I think this was the Bible Rev or something like that. But there's many of these little, translation type Bibles websites where you can go and look at different translations. And I just copied the first page. There's 7 different translations here that is mentioned: the NIV, the NSAB, the CSB, the NLT, the KJV, the KJV, and the NKJV, and the ESV. 7 translations plus Google AI said God names the light day. Every one of these translations are incorrect, because here God is not naming daytime or light as day and night as darkness. He's assigning their duties. And where we get this is in the Hebrew, because it says here in the Hebrew, and for day it says Vayikra Elohim La'or. It has a lamed in the front of this. It has a lamed in front of the Hebrew word for darkness. This lamed in the front of this designates that he summons, or he called to the light, like a king calling his subject. So the word to is there in front of each of these words. It's not translated in your standard Western English translations correctly, because it's saying he's naming light day, and he's not. And he goes on to explain that here in just a moment, that he's not naming that, but he is summoning, and he's given each one of these creations a specific duty. It goes on and says it's comparable to a king who had 2 servants, both of whom wanted to serve during the day. He summoned one of them and said, "The day will be your domain." And the other one, he said, "The night will be yours." Similarly here, and to the light he called. And that's the correct translation from the Hebrew. And to the light. That's where the lamed in front of or and in front of the word for darkness is the word. It stands for the word to, i.e., to the light, he said, "The day will be your domain." See, he's setting its place, its creation. He created light. Now he's putting its place within the creation. And to the darkness, he called night, i.e., and to the darkness, he said, "The night will be your domain." See, he gives each one of these creations a certain place to serve him. And there's a lot right there that I can go into right now, because there's so much misunderstanding. The understanding that, see, God raised up Israel, and he called to Israel to serve him as the priest of the nations. And he called unto the nations to settle the earth and to raise up ethical and moral societies that is run by justice. And so just like everything else, when he calls to something, he is giving them a specific place or a specific duty within his creation. Rabbi Hirsch explains as well that when God calls something by a name, it always expresses a mission. See, he was giving light and day a specific place, a specific duty. This is your duty. Your duty is light is going to be day and night is going to be the darkness, but that's not what the darkness is called. We call it that in human terms, but he doesn't give it its name in that aspect. Darkness is a specific place for a specific part of his creation. He directed both to their separate providences. The intent of this verse is not that God changed the name of light to day. Additionally, the name day does not refer to light itself, but to the duration of its radiance. But similarly, night is not a title of darkness, but the term that defines its duration. Hence, he does not say, Va'ikra es ha'or, or, and he called the light day, or he called the night darkness. It would have left out the lamed. It would have said, he called the light day, but he didn't say that. He says, Va'ikra Elohim la'or. He summons two. And for the day, he made it for the inhabitants of the world that it may labor. And the darkness was set forth so that the creatures of the earth might rest. Serfano, one of the great Torah teachers of Israel, emphasizes that day in our verse does not refer to the effect of the sun on the earth. In this passage, the light and darkness is not affected by the earth revolving around the sun, for it had not been given its radiation until the fourth day. At that time, when the original light functioned, the periods of light and darkness were not determined by the rotating spheres, but by the will of God, who separated the time of light and the time of darkness. This primeval light then is quiet, distinct from the luminaries, and in other scriptural verses, we note that light and darkness have their own distinct dwelling places. See the example, it's in Job chapter 38, verse 19. Where is the way of the light dwells, and the darkness, where is its place? Scotty, anything before I go on? Okay. Also, citing the Talmud Tamid, the darkness was created before the light. Torah, Tamima, suggests that the intent of the Midrash is as follows, that since darkness was created first, it would have been more logical for the verse to say that God called to the darkness, night, and then to the light, but he didn't. He called to the light first, though darkness was created first. The order was reversed. I found this very, very interesting. The order was reversed because God does not wish to associate his name with the forces which man perceives as evil. Although mentioned as earlier, darkness is evil only in man's limited understanding. So he called to the light. His name falls next in the Hebrew language, in the Hebrew verse, by Ikra Elohim La'or. His name is associated with the light. Because in man's interpretation of things, darkness is evil. Therefore, he does not establish his name with darkness here, even though it was created first. And so I found that a very interesting understanding of that passage. And there was morning, and there was evening and there was morning. The cycle of the day is complete. And in here it says, in halakhic reckoning, which means by Jewish law, which is established by God, and God gave Israel also the authority to establish halakhic rulings. But according to the legal reckoning of time, according to the Torah, the day begins with the preceding evening. As an example, for Israel, all of its Sabbaths and festivals begins in the evening of that what we would consider that day before. From evening to evening, Leviticus 23:32, which God gave to Israel. Ibn Ezra, another one of the great Torah teachers, explains that the etymology of evening, which in Hebrew is Erev, evening is called, Erev is called evening, is so called because it refers, get this, to a time when forms mingle. From Erev, to mingle, to become indistinct. Morning from Bakor. And Erev is to refer to a time when one can examine distinguished forms. The intent of this verse, which can be inferred to mean that morning and evening are simultaneously present. Erev in evening, what we call evening in English, is a time period where morning and evening are simultaneously present. When there is evening in one part of the globe, there is morning in another part. Then he says, one day. It's not called first day. It's called one day. It's called Echad, Yom Echad. Actually, if you did a direct interliteral translation, Yom Echad is Yom 1 or day 1. Here the scripture uses the cardinal number Echad, 1, instead of the ordinary number of Reshit, which is first. Remember, we're studying the book of Genesis. Its Hebrew word is Beroshit, which means beginning. It's translated in the beginning, but it means beginning. This book is the book of beginnings, when it all starts. God did not use the word Rashit in describing the first day. He used the word one, Echad. Unlike the other days, it uses the ordinary numbers, the second and the third and the fourth, to indicate that on this day he was alone, the angels not having been created until the second day. According to Rashi, therefore, Yom Echad would be understood is on the day of Echad, the day of one, the solitary one. And as the Ramban shares, he says, however, explains that the use of this verse of the cardinal number Echad, 1, instead of the original Rashit, or first, implies the presence of a second, while here the second had not yet come into existence. So it is one day, not Rashit. It's not first day, because second day, it denotes that there is a second, and the second hasn't been created yet. So in this first day, it's called Yom Echad. It's one day. From this point on, then it's second, third, and fourth. Thanks, Scotty. Told you it was going to be a little short, so if we want to do some discussion, we can.
Okay, so
I said I didn't want to go into verse 6 tonight. I wanted to do in and of it by itself.
So back up and describe one more time this element of light and day. And I want to ask you a question on it. So there was a time when the elements, light and day, were mingled together. Am I understanding that correctly? Somebody's asking these questions, so I'm just trying to put this through.
What's interesting is that when we think of that, darkness is the absence of light, right?
Yeah.
That's again in man's terminology from our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But from God's perspective, darkness had not even yet been created. Darkness was created first, as we discussed earlier.
And darkness was upon the face of the...
Darkness was upon the face of the earth. But see, darkness hadn't been created yet.
Okay.
See, and see, darkness is part of the creation, just like when then he called to the light. And he doesn't call it day. He just calls it to the light. He called to the light. I'm going to summons you. Your part of creation is you're going to dwell in the day, but he's not called day. That's his place of, that's its place of serving God. Darkness place is serving God at night. But neither is light called day, and neither is darkness called night. And it's kind of a little bit hard to grasp, but especially when you see the Hebrew where he calls to it, then you can understand when he's summoning a servant. He didn't call it by its name. He summons the servant, the light that he had created. He gave it a place to serve, in which is called day.
Okay. I'm getting a couple of questions on that, but I'm going to write them down because I know it's going to take you longer than 20 minutes to go back to where these questions are coming from.
So you see why it's interesting when we start getting back to the Hebrew. The Hebrew can challenge a lot of things that we were taught, because the people who taught us didn't know the Hebrew and understand its meaning. We get the meaning from the people who God gave this to at Mount Sinai some 3,400 years ago.
So Veronica asks a good question. So before darkness was nothing?
Exactly. There was not even darkness. We can't fathom darkness never existing, because we assume that darkness is the absence of light. But right. At one point in one time, before God began his creation, there was no darkness, because darkness is a part of his creation as much as an oak tree is, as much as you and I are. We're elements of his creation, and darkness is an element of his creation that did not have a pre-existence.
Okay. So what you're saying, they were basically created. Was everything created at one time and then put in its proper place?
Well, the way I like this one rabbi that I learned from years ago, I like the way he put it in human terms, is God created the ingredients. On Genesis chapter 1:1, God created the ingredients, because that is where the word bara is used. The word bara, create, is only used in the context of the creating of something from nothing, which we can't gather, because our minds can't understand that context. But he created the ingredients. And from that point on, from verse 1 on, then he began to form and make things from the ingredients that he made.
Mm-hmm.
But everything that creation consists of, even light and darkness, is part of the ingredients that did not exist before verse 1. They're part of the ingredients. Like salt, pepper, and flour are part of the ingredients of biscuits.
Okay.
Donald's just laughing at me.
All right.
Hey, Scotty.
No, that's it. And there's nothing that says we can't close cat class early.
No, it's like I said, I messaged you the other day saying
Yeah.
it would probably go a little short tonight, because that I wanted to start verse 6 off on its own note, because it's going to have its own unfun things.
What people are anticipating, and this is coming across loud and clear, is the creation of man. And I know we have to get all these other things fixed in their proper place and in their kind in order to get there.
Yeah. I mean, we're fixing to start the second day. We've got 6 more days. We have 6 more days.
Okay.
And some may be shorter than others like this, that we're just going to talk a little bit about that. But there's some things to learn from each day and what God did.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this is bringing in, helping create within all of us an awe and a respect, maybe of the Creator, that maybe you haven't experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you can go to God and pray and talk about, and give Him glory, to Him, because of His majesty.
Yeah.
His kingship especially, but just from His majesty of the, He is the Creator. Elohim means source.
Right.
We translate it as God, but it technically it means the source or the power. It's the power of the being we call God in English. He's the source that brings all this into being, into creation. That's the reason why this name is used at this time. And like I was saying, when we get over into, I think, chapter 2, we're gonna see some really interesting points there after the creation of man. But right now, the name Elohim is used because this reflects the source and the power of His abilities to create from nothing into something. And like I said, light and darkness is part of the ingredients and part of the creation, no different than an oak tree or you or I. He created it. It did not pre-exist. Before verse 1, darkness did not exist.
Okay.
So,
that's a, I know that some people say, well, there had to be something. No, there was nothing. Is nothing darkness?
What was there was God Himself.
Okay.
He says, I am, and I, as we might say down here in the South, if we want to use some really horrible English, is I is.
That's what I is. That's what I see. All right. All right. Well, Terry, thank you so much. Now, next week, we're going to move into
Verse 6.
verse 6. Verse 6. All right. Well, I am going to bring us to a close. And then you know what I'm going to do?
You can go close some gates.
I'm going to go close some gates. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. We appreciate so much you spending time with us tonight. We thank everybody, Nancy and Amuela and Joanna Flynn. It's so good to see you tonight, and Veronica, and Thomas and Ronald, and of course Terry. And we
Oh, there's
appreciate.
Joanna. Joanna snuck in here. I didn't get a chance to see her. Hi, Joanna.
Yeah, she kind of slipped in on us there.
Hello, I'm running late.
That's no problem.
Yeah, I'm running for president of that club, Joanna.
You're one of our mountaintop sisters.
Yeah, yeah. How's the wind up there, Joanna?
The wind is laid down. We've had a little bit of rain today, so I'm hoping that it's I think two of the big fires that were endangering us here have
Yes.
been contained.
Right.
Another one is pretty much, from what I understand, contained. So yeah, they got within about 10 miles of my house. Been a difficult couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Other reasons besides just the fires, but yeah, they it's good. It's good.
All right. All right. All right. You all are always on our mind. So I love the pictures you put up.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, we are going to come to a close. I appreciate everybody that has been listening on Power Faith Radio. And thank you for coming this way and spending some time with us. If you are finding the links or need to find the links, you can go to a Simple Walk Facebook page, and you'll even find this episode on a Simple Walk here shortly. And Terry usually posts the link there to come to the YouTube channel. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe to that channel, hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a video goes up, and share these videos with all your social media platform. Everybody, thank you so much, and we'll see you